Might be my last, it might not, but let's enjoy it and hopefully get a medal as well to show for it. Doing gym sessions for like over 20 years now, so some days it feels a little stale. I fell in love with the Paralympics at that point, and that was it. I wanted to be part of the movement going forward. I remember getting a like from David Beckham on Instagram. That lure of racing in front of the big crowds is what keeps me coming back, and I don't think anything else in life will ever replace that. So when we come to racing, we're probably both like big kids, really.
Neil, thanks for joining us today. And
my pleasure. Thank you for joining me today.
Well, yeah.
You've come to my house.
Indeed.
So.
Yeah. Well, it's good to be here. Good to catch up.
Yeah.
It's been a little while since we last spoke, but busy year ahead. It's just started pretty well though, with another couple of world titles. 21 now, I think.
Yeah, we're at 21. I remember saying at Glasgow that we got to 19, that 19 is not a number you should finish on. So I had to go and get at least one more, get to the 20. But yeah, I got 21 out in Rio, which was great. It was a bit of an up and down trip, shall we say, because while out there we also got mugged and lost a lot of our stuff, which was a massive downer. But to come away with the world titles was a nice end in that regard, and we made it home despite having our passports stolen, which was the biggest stress, to be honest, of it. So happy to put that one behind us, really. Not really celebrating it because it wasn't the most enjoyable experience, but getting the titles was good.
Absolutely. And it's kind of a bit of a cliche question. I know I've seen many a journalist ask you, but do you get bored of it at all? Clearly not, otherwise you wouldn't still be doing it.
I don't get bored of the racing. Certainly don't get bored of winning.
Yeah.
There's days in training, I think every athlete probably gets it, where you do go in and think, oh, not again. I mean, I've been doing gym sessions for like over 20 years now, so some days it feels a little stale. We try to keep it fresh and things, but that lure of racing in front of the big crowds is what keeps me coming back, and I don't think anything else in life will ever replace that. No. We got to do it last year in Glasgow, got to do it at the Birmingham Comic Games, didn't get to do it at Tokyo Paralympics, so I'm looking forward to a Paralympics where we have a crowd again, which there will be in Paris. I'm sure it'll be a full house there. So that's why I do it, to be honest. That's the buzz that I think I'll be chasing for the rest of my life. Hopefully I'm not racing my bike for the rest of my life, but never say never.
No, and I think it's definitely a sprinters thing, isn't it? We caught up with Jack Carlin and he said exactly the same, that buzz, that kind of shoulder to shoulder racing as well.
Yeah, it's what we live for. And when you first do it, it's massively nerve-wracking. You go out in front of the crowds and you feel like everyone's there judging you and your performance, and then you realise after doing it that everyone's just there to have a good time. They're there to support you, and if you don't win, they'll forget about it a few minutes later. They don't care. It's not a big deal. They're just there to have a good time. And when you've got a few thousand people in a velodrome, which is always loud regardless of how many people are in it, because the design, then it's just mega. So trying to get that performance that gets people standing on their feet, and get them in the mood, and if they're cheering you, there's nothing like it. So I love it. I love that head-to-head. I love racing. We just don't do enough of it, to be honest. So when these do come, it does mean a lot.
And talking of meaning a lot, where does Glasgow rank? Has that surpassed maybe 2014 and other major games? Yeah,
in some ways, definitely. I mean, the Worlds were the first time that my son Fraser was there at the velodrome. He was only 9 months old at the time, so he won't remember it at all, but I do. We can look back at that as well and say you were there. Full house in Glasgow is always mega. It'd be hard to top 2014 though, because that was, I often say my greatest win was winning in the sprint there in a match that we never should have won. It was Craig and I racing against the Australians. They should have beat us, but we somehow found a way to win, and the crowd were just unreal. And I'll never ever forget that. But going back for the Worlds was great. I love racing there. I don't know if I've ever lost actually racing in Glasgow, so I'm always happy to go back and race again in front of a home crowd. Hopefully we get a few more opportunities in the not too distant future.
Absolutely. And you mentioned racing in France. The crowd will be good. The French crowd are always pretty boisterous, and you've raced on that velodrome as well before. What do you make of it? What are you expecting?
Yeah, it's a nice velodrome. The track's fast. I raced out there at the Worlds in 2022. Had a couple of wins out there as well, and it's a great velodrome. It's a good facility. We know the French crowd will be big. It'll be, I know, and we're going to have a lot of GB fans as well because it's close, which is also nice. I think it'll be a great champs. I think the team will do well as well. Where F1's looking good. I think it's going to be a very strong team going out from GB. And I can't see how it's not going to be a great event, to be honest. And I don't know how many more of these Paralympic games I'll get as well, so I want to make the most of it and try and take it in as much as I can, because they are so few and far between. And obviously Tokyo was great, but it was the COVID games. We didn't have those crowds, we didn't have the experiences in and around the games as well that you often get. So I'm excited just to be part of the Paralympic movement one more time. Might be my last, it might not, but let's enjoy it and hopefully get a medal as well to show for it.
Absolutely, another gold, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and you mentioned Tokyo. I suppose one memory for me was yourself and your wife Laura both winning gold on the same night. Did that kind of in some way make up for the lack of crowds? Yeah,
I mean, in terms of what that meant, that victory, that was both getting it on, well, within 15 minutes of each other, it was insane. And to be honest, the volunteers and all the other people around were making enough noise in there that it still felt like quite a good atmosphere anyway. But for us, it was just a crazy day. And then, you know, following that, sort of pictures of Laura and I hugging and with our medals sort of went viral, to be honest. For the next day or so, my phone was just red hot and notifications galore. I remember getting a like from David Beckham on Instagram, which was just like insane that we were just suddenly in the public eye for that day or two. It was just a really magical moment. And Laura and I have both had our successes, but we'd never really done it at the same champs. We've certainly not done it at a games yet. You know, I did success in London where unfortunately she had a mechanical when she was set to win her first Paralympic gold medal. Out in Rio she got the gold and I got the silver, which was disappointing for me at the time. So to actually come together and do it finally just felt like this huge moment that we thought might never happen. So it's special to have, and whether that happens again or not, who knows, but we'll always have that. We've got that opportunity again, hopefully in Paris, if we're both there, both racing, and you know, we'll give it a go, but we've got that now in the bag, which is good.
For sure. And the wee man will be watching on in Paris, I assume?
Yeah, we're sort of finalising our plans on how he's going to be there, but Laura's parents have been very good. I mean, obviously we need a lot of help when we're both racing with someone to look after him, especially when we are racing in the same sessions. You know, it's a real challenge. So they've been really good. They've travelled out to Rio with us, with him as well. So he's been to a few velodromes globally already, and there's no way we could pass up on him coming to Paris and being part of the Paralympic Games as well. So it'll be great to have him there. I think he will take it in much more than he has at any point. He won't quite be 2 yet, and he probably won't remember it long term, but again, to get some images of him there to look back on, hopefully we can make him proud as well. That's something that's obviously always there in the back of your mind when you're racing that you want to do. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you should be. And how, I suppose, in terms of your perspective on things, but also just day to day, how has he changed your lives?
Yeah, I mean, the first year, sleep deprivation was the whole new aspect to training that I hadn't really grasped how tough that might actually be. And Laura and I just kind of finding our feet really, and how we both managed to train and look after him. It's taken a little while to get that rhythm going. But it's sort of made it now that I have less time to train, but it kind of fits in well with me as an athlete who's getting older, that I can spread my training out a little more, and when I am training, make the most of the time that I do have. And equally, you know, once I'm done training, I can get home and I forget all about the stresses of cycling. And to be honest, it is what it is. Don't get me wrong, there's still times it's stressful, but it's not the be all and end all anymore, because I get home and there's a little boy there wanting to play with me and wanting me to, all sorts of stuff. You know, I'm very busy, I don't get a chance to think, and Laura's the same as well. So it's been a real experience, but a really positive one. And to be honest, when I'm racing now, I might as well use him. I spend all the time looking after him as well, so I use the fact that he's there to motivate me to hopefully perform better. And I know none of my rivals have that same motivation that I do, that I'm there to try and win for him, to make him proud. So I think that's a real nice thing to have in your armoury going into races. And equally, if you don't sleep a little bit a few nights before because you're nervous, kind of used to that now. I can deal with it.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. So
You've got some good training in the back.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's on the whole, it's a very positive thing. But of course, it makes training a little bit more challenging. But I think it's working well at the minute.
Mm-hmm. And someone who's not such a wee man, your tandem partner Rothers, he's setting the internet viral with his squatting most recently. It's a partnership that's pretty much gone strength to strength, isn't it, over the last, I'm losing track of how many years now, but yeah. How big a role does he play both in your life, obviously not just on the track, but off it as well?
Yeah, in many ways, he's like a big kid. So I have to, he's someone who's very excited by racing as well. He's a very competitive person. He just loves the thrill of the crowd and getting out there. And so when we come to racing, we're probably both like big kids, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's training well now. I think he's got that games focus as well as we come towards it, and looking forward to it as much as I am. And yeah, we've been such a strong partnership over the years. I mean, Tokyo, we were untouchable, and we surprised ourselves with how well we went out there, and we've probably taken a bit of a step back since then. There's a little bit of tandem swapping around at first, and we're back together the past couple of years now, which has given us time to really find our focus again, find how we synchronize again together, and we're working really well as a team again. As you say, Matt's hitting PBs in the gym. That same day that he went viral, I also got a PB in the gym, but no one noticed because he was Mr. Squat, and he got articles written about it and all sorts. But I lifted quite well that day too. So yeah, it's nice. We're both going so well in the gym, and that tends to then lead on to the track. And we're in that phase now where we're converting that strength into power, hopefully on track, which ultimately hopefully means quick times come Paris. And it's really exciting that despite the fact we're getting older, in particular me, that we're still improving and getting better. And I'd love to be able to challenge the sort of times we did out in Tokyo, because that was special. And if we go anywhere near that quick, it's going to be very hard to beat us, and that's got to be the goal.
100%. Look, taking a step way back to where it all started. Like, a lot of people probably aren't that familiar with your story, but just talk us through how you came to be so good on the bike. Where was that first point in the journey?
Yeah, I mean, it is way back. There's no kidding on that front. I mean, I was fortunate to get to the 2008 Paralympic Games in Beijing. That was as a runner, not as a cyclist, racing 100 and 200 meters. And I was very much the last man on the plane there. I was qualified in the final week of qualifying, got the time, and just kind of eked my way onto the team. And I was going there with no expectations to win by any means, but I fell in love with the Paralympics at that point, and that was it. I wanted to be part of the movement going forwards. But following that Games, I was looking forward to London 2012, which is just 4 years away, thinking, home Paralympics would be incredible to be part of, and I wanted to be part of it. But UK Athletics didn't see that I had the potential, and they decided to terminate my contract just after the Beijing Games. And as far as I was aware, that was my sporting career done and dusted. You don't tend to come back once you've been cut from funding. That's usually it. And I had that opportunity if I wanted to keep trying, but it felt like it was probably never going to happen. So I decided I was going to try every sport, really, just to see if there was one I might be good at. I just had this hunch that maybe there was something else out there I hadn't tried, because I'd been doing athletics since I was 10. I didn't really try other sports. And cycling's a sport I've always been a fan of, so I decided I'd try that first. And things just happened to work out for me. I got in touch with the right people. I got a trial with British Cycling, and they were quite impressed with my numbers and kind of fast-tracked me onto the tandem. And yeah, within a year of losing just over a year of losing my funding from athletics, I raced at the World Champs, and not only raced but won 2 golds at the World Champs, which was way beyond my expectations. And my sort of plan to hopefully just make it to London suddenly became, well, actually maybe you might go there with an opportunity to be competitive, which was a big shock. But it turns out cycling's, I guess, what I should have been doing from the get-go. Not that I regret my past by any means. And it's kind of hard to believe, thinking back now, how, you know, I was that athlete who was just there to enjoy it in 2008, and then I've managed to experience so many games since. Yeah, long may that continue as well.
Absolutely. Going out to France, you've been there and raced there plenty of times. But what do you look forward to about being in France? Is there a particular food or anything about the culture?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've barely raced there. I've only raced the once, which is really weird. Wow. Throughout my whole sporting career, that's athletics and cycling, I've only raced once, and then only been to Paris one other time on holiday as well. So it's not somewhere I've been that often, but it's somewhere I do love, particularly Paris. It's the only place I've visited yet. So, I mean, I love the food culture, and you know, Laura and I, pre-having Fraser, any holiday we had was very much food-based. We're very much foodies. Yeah. Laura's definitely helped develop my my Scottish taste buds into a wider cuisine over the years. So we went there and everything was planned around going to nice restaurants and things. So I absolutely adore it for the food culture. I know I can't experience that much pre-race, but maybe I'll get an opportunity afterwards. But yeah, I love the buzz of Paris, and just, you know, the slightly touristy things, of course, that we did all of that. And you know, when I was back racing, it was the same thing. We just popped out in the evening and saw the Eiffel Tower and things, just as a nice little memento. But yeah, I love the buzz of the city. I think it will be absolutely electric at the games. London certainly was, and it's going to be a similar vibe. I think, you know, that with our kind of European culture and our approach to sport is massive, and cycling in particular is huge. So it'll be fantastic, and it's nice that we have some very competitive French bikes in paracycling as well. So I think there will be a lot of local hype around it. Hopefully not too much around the tandems and the sprint events. We'll keep them quiet, hopefully, but it'll be, you know, the crowd will be huge, and that's just what I can't wait for.
Amazing. Well, look, thanks for giving us some of your time. It's been great to chat, and good luck with the final build-up.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, and hopefully see you in Paris.
Absolutely. Cheers.